In this video, I will demonstrate common deadlift variations along with what their unique training benefits are. In its most essential explanation, the deadlift is an exercise where dead weight, most commonly a barbell, is lifted off the floor until the body is completely upright, meaning your shoulders and hips are stacked directly above your feet. And with this fundamental movement pattern, there are many variations of it that can be performed, but there is no one best variation, as the ideal type of deadlift all depends on your goals, unique biomechanics, strengths, and weaknesses. Regardless of the specific deadlift variation performed, the purpose of the deadlift movement is to strengthen and grow the chain of muscles that run along the backside of the body, which include your back, glutes, and hamstrings. And I'll now demonstrate different deadlift variations and explain their unique benefits and characteristics. Variation number 1, the conventional deadlift. In alignment with its name, this is the most common deadlift variation you'll see performed in the gym. Since it is the standard that all other deadlifts are compared to, it isn't technically a variation, but I'll pretend it is for the sake of this video. Its defining technique components are feet positioned approximately hip width apart, standing a bit wider or narrower depending on what feels most comfortable for the individual, hands gripping the bar outside of the legs approximately at shoulder's width. Again, exact positioning depends on the individual, and this will be true for all of the deadlift variations mentioned in this video. The unique qualities of the conventional deadlift will be best understood in contrast as I describe the next variation. Variation number 2, the sumo deadlift. This is the second most common deadlift variation you'll see performed in the gym. Due to the wide stance, the sumo deadlift requires significantly more hip mobility than the conventional deadlift. Its defining technique components are feet positioned outside of the hands with significant variation in the width of the stance, as hip mobility can vary quite a lot from person to person. Hands gripping the bar at approximately shoulder's width. The unique benefits and characteristics of the sumo deadlift are 1. It allows for a more upright torso angle compared to the conventional deadlift, which reduces stress on the lower back, making this a great option for individuals who are prone to lower back discomfort and pain. 2. It stresses the glutes and inner thighs more than the conventional deadlift, making the sumo variation excellent for developing strength and size in those particular muscle groups. In contrast, the conventional deadlift places more stress on the hamstrings and lower back. 3. The sumo deadlift can simply feel more comfortable than the conventional deadlift for some folks due to individual differences in joint architecture and leverage, but the opposite can also be true. 4. Due to the wider stance, your hands are closer to the bar when standing upright compared to the conventional deadlift, meaning you don't have to bend down as far to grip the bar. This decreased range of motion allows some individuals to lift more weight with the sumo variation compared to the conventional deadlift. However, despite the decreased range of motion, not everyone is stronger when lifting in the sumo stance. Variation number 3, the Romanian deadlift. The defining technique components are it starts from a totally upright position, in contrast to the previous two deadlift variations where the exercise starts by lifting the weight from the floor. The grip and stance widths are that of the conventional deadlift. The primary focus is to move the hips backwards as much as possible while maintaining a slight bend in the knees and keeping the shins vertical. The bar stays in contact with the body for the entirety of the lift, and the weight approaches the ground closely but never makes contact. The unique benefits and characteristics of the Romanian deadlift are 1. The limited knee bend and backwards movement of the hips places more stress on the hamstrings compared to the conventional deadlift, making this a great variation for developing strength in that particular muscle. 2. Since the conventional and sumo deadlifts do not require a deliberate and slow lowering of the weight, the Romanian deadlift increases the time that the muscles of the posterior chain are under tension, which is particularly helpful for stimulating muscle growth. Variation number 4, the stiff leg deadlift. There are some semantics involved here and differing opinions, but the technique of the stiff leg deadlift is commonly described as a conventional deadlift done with the knees in a much less bent position. The stiff leg deadlift carries very much the same benefit as the Romanian deadlift, in that the reduction in knee bend places more stress on the hamstrings, making it another great choice for developing strength and size in that muscle. However, the stiff leg deadlift involves much less time under tension than the Romanian deadlift, making it not quite as effective for muscle growth in comparison. Variation number 5, the wide grip deadlift. The technique of this variation is simply a deadlift done with a significantly wider grip. The unique benefits and characteristics of the wide grip deadlift are 1. The wider the grip, the further you need to bend over to grip the bar, which increases the range of motion. This makes the deadlift more challenging because you have to perform more work per rep. 2. The wider grip requires that you have a more horizontal torso angle, which places more stress on the lower back, and the torso position also increases the challenge of maintaining a tall upper back posture. Because of these changes in mechanics, the wide grip deadlift is an excellent exercise for developing strength and size throughout the entire back. 3. The awkward mechanics of the wide grip deadlift create a particular challenge in lifting the barbell from the floor, making this an effective variation to incorporate in your training if the hardest part of your deadlift is breaking the weight off the ground. Variation number 6. The deficit deadlift. This is simply any form of the deadlift done while standing on a raised surface. Weight plates are most commonly used to create this added surface height. Similar to how the wide grip deadlift increases the range of motion by effectively shortening your arms, the deficit deadlift increases the range of motion by effectively lengthening your legs. The increased height of your body makes the start of the lift more challenging because you have to bend over further to grip the bar, making the deficit deadlift another effective variation for improving your strength off the floor along with the wide grip deadlift. Variation number 7. The pause deadlift. The defining technique components are a deliberate motionless hold of the bar throughout one or more parts of the range of motion done for a predetermined amount of time. For example, a 2-second pause done right after breaking the weight from the floor each rep. The pause deadlift's benefit is straightforward. You choose your weakest part of the range of motion to pause within. By forcing yourself to hold the bar motionless in the position that you're weakest in, you train your body to become stronger in that position, improving your technique and strength in the deadlift. For example, if you are weakest when breaking the weight off the floor in the sumo deadlift, you will want to perform the pause just after breaking the weight off the floor. By training the pause this way, you will improve the maximum amount of weight that you can lift in the sumo deadlift. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope this information helped you develop a better understanding of the deadlift movement, along with how you can incorporate different variations to increase your overall deadlift performance. Remember, the best variation depends entirely on your goals, individual leverages, and strengths and weaknesses. If you have any deadlift variation questions that weren't answered in this video, feel free to leave a comment. If you enjoyed this video and think it would be helpful for others too, please like the video, share it, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks.